They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but what if there were no images? Let's look at this black screen. It's pretty dull, right? I imagine this is what our world would look like without any images. A life without images would be like living in a world of the unknown, where we would have difficulties remembering the past, understanding history, and learning about culture, society, and expression. Whether constructed by hand or digitally by a computer, images have impressed themselves inextricably upon our global society, and there is not a minute that goes by in our lives where we are not saturated with images in our phones, in public, on the streets, and even in class. Since the invention of the camera in 1816, the physical images that photographs produce allow us to have evidence and be witness to historic moments. Without images, we would not be able to recognize a man who lived over 100 years ago, like Abraham Lincoln, or the first moon landing would not have been documented. However, as suggested by Rose Gillian, sites of modalities, including audience, composition, and the image itself, need to be considered when we contemplate and assess the meaning or truth behind an image. We must also recognize that images don't just circulate history, but they can also create a posed fabrication of history. A photo as iconic as this one that appears seemingly spontaneous and a snippet of real life, was actually staged for publicity purposes. When I saw this photo, I was convinced that the men eating lunch on top of the skyscraper was truthful, which is not the case. It is actually just a snapshot of a performed event that creates such a narrative in our history. In today's digital world, modern technologies, particularly the smartphone, have created a radical shift in our exposure and perception of images. Social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter have made it significantly easier for images that document our lives to be shared with the world. As there is now infinite ways to access and interact with images online, they have become visible to people from various places and contexts. W.J.T. Mitchell proposes that images will always be perceived differently, and this carries through social media when images are shared amongst different social, political, economic, and geographic groups. Despite its intended meaning, an image that may seem humorous for some could be interpreted as offensive and harmful to others, and its original purpose can be altered or rejected by particular audiences. Thus, when we look at images in our ever-changing modern world, we must understand the immense power they hold. While they are intrinsic to the fabric of our daily lives, images can be deceiving, and especially with the future of AI and digitally created images, we must take this into account in order to truly interpret what we see within images.